Title: The night I refused to meet her, I wasn't supposed to know. That's what I kept telling myself the night Mark called me, his voice a little too light, a little too casual, and said, "Hey, man, I want you to meet someone." It was almost midnight. My laptop was open, the soft glow of my screen reflecting off half-finished whiskey. He was supposed to be home with Emma, his wife, the woman who'd helped him through grad school, who'd cried in my kitchen when he lost his job 2 years ago. I didn't answer right away. I think he could hear the hesitation in my silence. "Don't be weird about it," he added quickly, his tone turning defensive. "It's not what you think." But it was exactly what I thought. Mark and I had been friends since college. We had done everything together: road trips, late-night study sessions, all-nighters talking about life and meaning and women and dreams. He was the kind of guy who believed in loyalty, or at least he used to. But after he got married, things changed. Slowly, subtly. At first, it was harmless flirting with co-workers. Then it was drinks after work that became nights out. I'd hear stories. Names that didn't match, timelines that didn't add up. And then there was her. He called her Sophie. Never the other woman, never my affair. He used her name like a secret, a talisman he thought I'd understand. "She gets me," had said once after a few too many drinks. "You know, she listens. She actually sees me." I remember staring at him across the table, watching him swirl his drink. I wanted to shake him. I wanted to scream that Emma had always seen him. She'd stood by him through everything. Instead, I said nothing. Because how do you tell a grown man he's destroying his life when he's already halfway through burning it? So that night, when he called me, "Come meet her, man. She's amazing," I felt something twist in my stomach. I asked, "Does Emma know?" Silence. Then a laugh, sharp and forced. "Come on, don't start. You always judge too quickly." "Mark," I said quietly, "you're married." "Yet," he replied, almost smugly, "and am also human." That was it. The line that broke something in me. He showed up at my place 20 minutes later, pounding on the door. I opened it just enough to see him standing there, eyes glassy, hair messy. The faintest trace of perfume that wasn't Emma's clinging to him. "She's waiting in the car," he said. "I told her you'd love her. Don't embarrass me." "Mark," I said, "go home." He frowned. "What? I'm not meeting her." "You're seriously judging me for this? You of all people?" "Yeah," I said, my voice steady now. "Because I know you, and I know her, and I know what this will do." He stared at me for a long time, confusion, anger, guilt flickering across his face like lightning. "You think you're better than me?" he muttered. "No," I said. "I just think you've forgotten who you are." And then I closed the door. He didn't speak to me for weeks after that. I heard things through mutual friends. That Emma had grown suspicious. That Mark had started staying out later. That Sophie was getting impatient with being a secret. Then came the text, short, bitter, final. "You don't get to judge me. You don't understand what it's like to feel trapped." I didn't reply, but I thought about him often. About how love can curdle into selfishness. How a good man can convince himself that betrayal is just another word for freedom. A month later, Emma called me. Her voice was shaky but calm. "Did you know?" she asked. I didn't lie. I told her the truth. That I knew, that I tried, that I refused to be part of it. There was silence on the line. Then, softly, "Thank you. It's been almost a year since then. Mark and I haven't spoken. He moved to another city, divorced, started over. Sometimes, when I think of that night, the knock on the door, the way his voice broke, I wonder if I did the right thing. Friendship is supposed to be unconditional, but maybe there are lines even friendship can't cross. Maybe sometimes the kindest thing you can do is refuse to meet her." Continuation. The return. 3 years passed. 3 years since that night. Since the knock on my door, since the argument that ended a decade-long friendship. Life moved on as it always does. I changed jobs, moved to a smaller apartment, cut my hair shorter. I stopped looking at old photos of us, stopped checking social media to see what Mark was doing. But some memories don't fade. They just go quiet. And then, one gray afternoon in late November, he came back. It was a Thursday. Cold rain was streaking the windows of the coffee shop where I was working remotely. I'd just taken a sip of my lukewarm cappuccino when I saw a figure standing outside the glass, tall, familiar, hesitant. "Mark." For a moment, my heart stopped. He looked older, not just in the lines on his face, but in the way he carried himself. Shoulders slightly hunched, eyes sunken. The kind of exhaustion that doesn't come from lack of sleep. It comes from guilt. From living with consequences you can't undo. He spotted me and froze. Our eyes met. Then, slowly, he pushed open the door. "Hey," he said softly. His voice was quieter, rougher than I remembered. I nodded. "Hey, can I sit?" I gestured to the chair across from me. He sat down, his fingers drumming nervously against the table. There was a faint tremor in his hands. For a while, neither of us said anything. Finally, he exhaled. "You were right." It took me a moment to process that. "About what?" I asked. He gave a hollow laugh. "Everything. The affair. The lies. The way I treated Emma. You warned me, and I didn't listen." He looked down. "She left for a good 6 months after you and I fought. She didn't scream or throw things. She just left, took her things, signed the papers, and walked out of my life." His voice cracked on that last part. "I didn't say anything. I didn't need to. I tried to make it work with Sophie," he continued. "You know, the woman from before. Thought maybe it meant something. But it didn't. It was just empty. She wanted the version of me that didn't exist anymore. The fun guy, the rebellious one. But that guy was gone the moment I watched Emma drive away." He rubbed his eyes. "I thought I was escaping a prison. Turns out I was breaking down the only home I ever had." The cough was quiet, except for the rain against the windows. "Why now?" I asked finally. "Why come back after all this time?" He gave me a small, sad smile. "Because you were the only one who ever told me the truth. Everyone else just enabled me. Said I deserved to be happy. Said Emma would get over it. But you shut the door on me. I hated you for it then. But now I get it." He paused, his voice trembling. "You weren't punishing me. You were protecting me from myself." I swallowed hard. "I wasn't trying to protect you. I was trying to protect her. And, honestly, myself." He nodded slowly. "Yeah, I know." We sat there for a long time. The kind of silence that isn't awkward, just heavy, full of all the words we didn't say for years. Finally, he reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out a folded piece of paper. "I found this while cleaning out my stuff last week," he said. "Emma wrote it. She never sent it." He handed it to me. I hesitated, then opened it. The handwriting was unmistakably hers, neat, deliberate, graceful. It read, "Mark, I don't hate you. I just can't love the version of you who doesn't see me anymore. Maybe someday you'll remember who you were. The man who believed in loyalty, in decency, in truth. I hope he finds his way back, even if I'm not there when he does." Emma, when I looked up, Mark's eyes were wet. "She was always too good for me," he whispered. He asked me if I thought it was too late for him to make things right, not with her, but with himself. I told him it's never too late to be decent again, but it starts with honesty. The one thing you kept running from. He nodded. "That's why I came here, to start with you." After that day, we didn't become best friends again. Not like before. Some cracks never fully seal, but we talked sometimes, small messages, coffee every few months. He started volunteering at a counseling center for men struggling with infidelity and guilt. He said it was his way of giving back, of trying to make meaning out of the mess he made. And maybe that was his redemption. Not fixing the past, but refusing to repeat it. The last time I saw him, he looked lighter, not happy, exactly, but at peace. As he was leaving, he turned to me and said, "You know, I used to think friendship meant always standing beside someone, no matter what. But you showed me sometimes friendship means standing in their way." He smiled, gave a small wave, and walked off into the late afternoon sun. I never saw him again, but sometimes when it rains, I think of that night years ago, the knock on the door, the girl in the car I never met, the choice I made, and I realized that maybe we're all just one decision away from becoming someone unrecognizable, or someone we can live with again. Ending. The weight of silence a few months after that coffee shop meeting. Mark passed away in a car accident. A storm, a sharp turn, and a tree that didn't move. When I got the call, I didn't know what to feel. Shock, sadness, anger. It all came in waves. The man I'd once called my best friend, the man who had destroyed his marriage, betrayed his wife, and lost himself along the way, was gone. At the funeral, Emma stood quietly at the back. I didn't even know she'd come. Our eyes met briefly, and in that instant, I saw the kind of grief that has already made peace with itself. She wasn't crying. She was remembering. After the ceremony, she approached me. "I heard you two talked before it happened," she said softly. I nodded, "Yeah." He wanted to make things right. A faint, tired smile touched her lips. He always did, too late. She looked down at her hands, then added, "Thank you for being there. I think in his own way, you were the only real friend he ever had." A week later, I went back to the coffee shop where we'd met. The same table, the same corner by the rain-streaked window. I ordered his favorite, black coffee, 2 sugars, and sat there, thinking about how strange life is, how people destroy themselves chasing something they already had. I thought about the letter Emma wrote, the one that ended with maybe someday you'll remember who you were. Maybe before the end, he did. I left the coffee untouched, the cup still warm, a small curl of steam rising like a whisper. Outside, the rain had stopped, and for the first time in years, I didn't feel angry, just free. Final line. Some endings don't come with closure, just silence and the quiet relief of knowing you finally said enough.